Today, I kind of want to share with you a journey that we've been on at Itron for about the last 5 years. We started kind of at the ground floor. We designed a partner program that was intended to drive partner engagement in different ways. We wanted to provide a really strong, curated, personalized experience for our partners. And so we built this program around that as kind of the premise. But along the way, I want to kind of share with you a little bit about the journey, and I want to start with just talking a little bit about Itron and who we are. I'm sure most of you in the room have no idea who Itron is. Unless you happen to walk outside and look at your meter in your backyard, you may not even care who Itron is in that regard. But Itron is actually a global partner. We have about $2 billion in business. And our key premise from day one has really been to build infrastructure and software to help our end customers, which are primarily utilities, cities, municipalities, better manage their resources like energy and water. So let me tell you a little bit of a story to give you some idea about the culture at our company too. Because it's a culture that's been built on over 40 years, some acquisitions along the way, but for the most part, the people at our company have been there for a long time. We bring, new blood in all the time, but it's a history of people that work together very well and know each other very well. Back in September of 2022, I'm sure for any of you that were in Florida at that time or followed the news, you happen to know that there was a hurricane headed towards Florida. And it just so happened to coincide with our annual conference with our customers and with our partners. We were in Marco Island. And as the hurricane path shifted down the coast of Florida and slowly headed towards our direction, it became pretty darn apparent that we were not leaving, that we were going to be in the hotel. It was a great Marriott property, by the way, and that we were going to be there with our customers and with our partners. We were all in for this. We knew we were in a safe environment. It was a Cat 5 hurricane hotel. They had plenty of food, plenty of water. They had generators. They were housing the first responders. And they also had a lot of wine and alcohol and all that. But anyway, my point of this story is really this. As we lost power, as cell phones died and we couldn't call our loved ones anymore, we couldn't get buried in telling everybody on Facebook we were safe, it changed the way that we all interacted together. We all interacted in different ways before because we were there for a conference, right? We were there to listen to a presentation and walk out of the room, maybe say hi to somebody. But what it forced us to do was talk in different ways. And the reason why this is important to me is, first of all, we've always separated our conference. We have one for our customers, our direct customers. And that's the majority of our business. We only do about 15% or so of our business through the channel right now. And so then our partners would typically come in right behind that conference, and then the Itron teams would divvy up who they were covering. But because we were all stuck together, we saw conversations between our partners and our direct customers, and they started chatting about what they're doing and how they're deploying our technology, how they're using our technology. They talked about their kids, their dogs, their children. And we came together in a community way that I didn't really expect. And while I would never wish a hurricane event on anybody, it did change a little bit about who we are. But it didn't surprise me from an Itron perspective, because that's kind of who our company is. We care about people. We care about the experiences that people have, and we want to bring people together. And so the final kind of piece of this story is the fact that as the power went out and the generators came on and we were talking about who Itron is and what we do, we all had a sense of comfort in knowing one thing, and that was, first of all, the state of Florida is greatly prepared for disasters, right? They have great disaster planning capabilities, including all the utilities. But turns out, Florida Power and Light, Duke Energy, Tampa Electric, among many others, all are Itron customers. And they all deployed and have been deployed many of our solutions, including grid management, darn word for it now, leak detection and some other instances for the water customers. But I guess at the end of the day, we were satisfied in knowing that as power was capable of coming back online and the hurricane had passed, that we knew it would be serviced as quickly as we could. And our grid management software came critically into play there because it enabled the teams at these different utilities to see where the power was out and where they could get first responders to bring the lines up, as well as it would automatically reroute the power as those lines came online to begin service to the customers. And one stat that kind of came out of it at the end of the day was for the first, well, it was probably the fastest response time in bringing customers back online of any hurricane or natural disaster in the history of the state of Florida. And a lot of that we credit towards having a lot of the software automation that was in place that is delivered by Itron. So just one last bit in this story is just to give you the size of the company. We're not just in the US, we are global. We have over 8,000 customers around the globe, about 100 companies. Each one of those customers obviously has retail customers at the end, so there's millions of customers out there that are affected by Itron and our products and solutions. Again, some of the stats under the communication devices and endpoints that we have deployed give you the magnitude of the networking capability that we have out there. Another fun fact is that 4 million streetlights. So the 4 million streetlights under management, it represents, again, a network canopy, right? If a streetlight has an endpoint on it, we can begin to network streetlights together and create a canopy. City of Miami has over 500,000 streetlights, smart streetlights, either currently deployed or in plan to be deployed. And what that enables is a huge network within the city of Miami, and they can layer software on top of that. And what that allows is for those folks to, or maybe third-party vendors, they can deliver something like gunshot detection. And gunshot detection is kind of cool because if the street light perceives a gunshot in an area, it can automatically bring in law enforcement or ambulances or whatever before we even wait for a call to come into a station. And so my whole point of this is, look, we have 5,000 people at Itron to support building these wonderful, wonderful softwares and hardware. However, we also have over 250 partners around the globe. And our challenge has been, our partner network has typically been small to medium-sized partners, right? We have some as small as literally 2 men in a truck, and some as large as thousands of employees with locations around the world. So we're carrying a diverse network of partners. And the challenge was really the majority, even some of those very large ones, were really focused on device-only sales. And clearly, you can hear by these solutions I'm describing, that's a different partner type or a different capability that we needed our partners to understand and be able to deliver. So what did we do? About 5 years ago, we embarked on a journey to create a channel partner program from the ground up to deliver to our partners a curated personal experience and enable them to make this transformation and to be able to sell the new products and solutions that were really needed in our market space. So some of the key fundamentals of our program are really around these 4 strategic pillars. Everything that we do in the program, every process that we want to change, every new application that we want to bring under the Partner Center to our partners falls under one or multiple of these pillars. So I'll just take you through these real quick. First is develop. Again, we wanted to provide our partners with the ability to develop and understand how to sell and how to install and how to service our products and solutions. And so we created this concept called Itron University. It runs inside of SAP SuccessFactors platform, and it was leveraging some of the training that we were already sharing with our own internal teams. And we created a training and certification program on top of that so that we could be sure that our partners had all the right training that they needed to be competent to either sell or service or install our products and solutions. And what we found initially was a really bad experience for our partners, because believe it or not, internal training doesn't translate well to channel. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that as well. So what we did was we took a step back and said, okay, we need to create a role-based training model to support the channel. So over the course of about a year, I set up a core training team, and we went through, we documented the requirements, what does it mean to be a learner within the channel, and define roles for each of the partner users. For example, someone in sales needs this training, someone that's technical supporting sales might need this much, someone deploying doesn't have anything to do with that, they just need to know how to push buttons and run cables. So we defined the training that was required for each role, and we pushed that out to our PBUs. So now every new piece of solution or device or whatever that comes out and is channel ready has to meet the role-based training criteria. The second item in this pillar is grow. So the next step is really, once we've got a partner into the system, they're getting their training, we want to grow their business with them. This applies to our existing partners as well. It's really about business planning. Early on, we didn't have a lot of business planning. It was really hit or miss. It depended largely based upon whether or not that account manager was incented enough to define a business plan in their partner, to look at it and say, how do we want to go to market together? Where do you want to put your resources? How much AMI, that's automated the meter infrastructure, do you want to sell for water and gas this year? Nobody was doing that. So we put in place some structure around business planning, identified some key performance indicators and said, these elements must be inside your business plan with your partners, and created some templates that we've pushed out. We're still in the process of doing this at the global level. It's baby steps in some regions. But at the end of the day, we're creating a more holistic view of the program and defining what we expect of our partners, as well as what we expect of our internal teams when it comes to helping our partners grow their business with us. We established as part of that what we call the Channel Enablement Framework. And that defines a set of criteria, whether it's training, collateral, communications, business planning, etc. What has to be in place when a new product or solution comes to market that's going into the channel? The next pillar is really the transform pillar. And the transform pillar is, again, it's about building new business models to support the channel. One of those that's been really key over the last year has been deployment services and support services. What we want our partners to be able to do to help us scale into the small and mid-sized markets that we can't address is we want them to be able to deploy these advanced software solutions. We also want them to provide some tier 1 support, because our own back-end support, largely based in the US. You got time zone issues if you're a partner in the Middle East or in APAC. So we wanted them to be prepared to be able to do that. So we established some training criteria and deployment criteria and a program around that so that they could be properly trained and certified in those business areas or in those deployment and support services areas. And the other area that's been the hardest one to transform has actually been building new recurring revenue models for our partners. And surprisingly enough, it's probably been easier for the partners to say, I want that, than it has been for our own internal teams to say, I want to give them that. It means a lot of internal processes had to change. It means some of our systems had to be stretched to work a little differently. But at the end of the day, the recurring revenue model, 18 months into the project, I'm happy to say, is launching in March. We've had a few partners go through pilots in different regions, North America and EMEA. And I'm really proud to say that our partners have been screaming for this, and I'm happy that we're delivering on it. And the last pillar is the simplify pillar. And the simplify pillar is really all about easing doing business with Itron. When we started on the design of the program, it was probably one of the biggest elements of feedback that we got from partners. They said, it's just too hard to do business with you. You're a big company. We're a small partner. We get lost. Your requirements change. It's inconsistent what you need to do to install this versus service that. Just a lot of inconsistencies, and it was hard. So what we did was we evaluated vendors, and Impartner, of course, came out the winner to deliver a partner center experience. So we could have one single point of entry into a partner's doing business with Itron. They can see everything about how they do business with Itron. They can gather assets there. They can search a product catalog, get their training, submit service requests. They have access to all that through one point now, rather than sending emails to different teams or picking up a phone and calling support and having our support team key in a service request. So that simplified the business a lot for both sides, the partner and for Itron. And the last area, again, this is not a comprehensive list, but the last area that we added to that simplify is opportunity management. It seems a little interesting to say we're gonna put deal registration and call that a simplify. But the reality is we were servicing 4 or 5 partners all bidding on the same RFP at the same time and amplifying the amount of resources in the back end required to do that. And so for us, it really was simplifying how we manage the partner and saying, look, at the end of the day, you're gonna submit a deal registration. We're gonna evaluate each one of these deal registrations. We set up rules of engagement, we set criteria, we set all the expectations with the partners, and we said, we're gonna identify one partner, and that partner gets the deal registration. Interestingly enough, yes, partners were like, first, I don't wanna share that information with you. Some partners who embraced it got the deal registrations, and pretty soon the others were like, okay, we trust you. How come I didn't get the deal registration? And now what happens is they've gotten feedback from us, and we've been able to say, look, it's because you didn't provide this, you didn't nurture, you don't have the relationships, whatever the reason is, we can provide that feedback to our partners, and their deal registrations can improve and have improved over time. So I don't want to delve too much into this slide. I just wanted to give it to you to give you a holistic approach to what we've done. Clearly, the tiers is very common in programs. It's an area that we're looking at changing over the next year. We're hitting up on year 5 in 2025. We're looking at a little bit of program restructuring. But the concept that's really important on this slide is the activations concept. And what we decided to do with activations was to say, look, we have a vast amount of products and solutions. We need a way to help partners and to help us identify what a partner can sell. And so what we've done is take different categories, whether it is devices, it's AMI for water or gas, or AMR for water. I know I'm using acronyms, but it's that. It's some of our advanced solutions like smart cities, like water operations management. It's deployment services, it's support services. And we've categorized them and said, and evaluated partners and said, look, if you have the capabilities, you have the Salesforce, the knowledge, et cetera, to deliver these types of solutions, this is what activations you will have. What that ultimately does is it permeates everything that we do in business with these partners. It affects their business planning. Their business planning is structured around the activations and what they can sell. We can track a partner. If they've been given 5 activations, are they selling to those 5 activations? If they're not, why not? They can have the conversation in the business planning session that says, look, I want to get the smart city activation. What do I need to do to be enabled to sell smart cities? So it drives conversations in business planning. It's in our channel partner agreement. It's managed through an activation notice. Very simply, it's an addenda to the CPA. We don't have to renegotiate a CPA to give a partner a new activation or take it away. We just have to issue an activation notice. It's permeated our training and certifications because it enables us to say this partner and this partner user has this role and this activation, and they get assigned automatically this training. And that's what they're required to complete in order to be certified, and for that partner to be certified in an activation. And that's important because at the end of the day, activations are layered into incentives, pricing structures, and discounting. And one of the tools that we created and actually delivered on in the past year is an online pricing tool. And that online pricing tool is a curated experience for that unique partner that says, this partner has these 3 activations, they're at this tier in the program, and in some cases, they're in this particular region, and they only see the pricing for the products and solutions that meet that criteria. They don't look at a vast product catalog that has thousands of items in it that they can't even sell. So I just wanted to share this with you briefly to show you a little bit about our interface and how we do business both on the partner side and internally. So all of these things that I've been talking about, we can push out to our partners through the Partner Center. And the cool thing about this dashboard that you're looking at, thanks to my colleague Whitney and her beautiful redesign this past year, is all those tiles have analytics behind them that drive their placement on the screen. So when partners log in, they are seeing the items in their tiles that they are most likely to want to access. That's reducing clicks for those users, right? It's improving their experience, it's tailoring it. I wish I could say it's tailored to each individual partner, but it's not. But over time, what will happen is these tiles can shift around. And again, we're using analytics to drive their placement. Maybe in the fall, as more MDF, it comes to the end of our MDF year, MDF all of a sudden hits that tile pops up to the top row. But here it is January or February, and maybe MDF is not the top center of mind. Maybe it's orders, and orders may move up there and MDF shift. So this is it's a nice dynamic environment tailored towards giving our partners a curated experience. I'm gonna skip over to the right, the Salesforce dashboards. So what we have is Salesforce is our data engine in the back end. It's our single source of truth for all that we do. And we created some dashboards inside of Salesforce. They're all reports embedded in a dashboard that give us different perspectives on the partner and different elements of the program. So we have a revenue dashboard. It pulls in data from Oracle. It pulls in data from Salesforce and allows us to have different views into it. And we have a channel program dashboard that gives us information about the channel and the activities in it, the activations, regional breakout, etc. That's a unique dashboard to our internal teams. The Partner Center is a unique dashboard to our partners. But in between that, there's a lot of shared information, including, again, a shared single source of data. One of the dashboards I've shared up there is the performance dashboard. And the performance dashboard is a Power BI report. And it's, again, pulling in data from our RevViz cube. And it's also pulling in data from Salesforce. And it's showing the partners the KPIs that they're being tracked on for their point scoring for their tier in the program. And anytime a partner can click on this in the Partner Center and see where they stand for this year and where they stood last year so they can make their own comparisons. And you can see what we're tracking. We're tracking revenue to plan. Did they submit a business plan? Have they completed trainings and certifications related to their activations? And how's their order accuracy? That same performance dashboard is available to our internal teams by just clicking on their partner's account in Salesforce, and then they click on the tab for that, and they can see the exact same thing the partner sees. So everybody's on the same page. It's just like the pricing tool. Pricing tool is also a Power BI report, and it's accessible in Salesforce at the account level, and it's accessible in the Partner Center for each partner. Okay, last slide. I just want to share with you just a little bit about self-service by the numbers. I mean, I talked a lot about what we've been trying to do with our partners, driving engagement, and I think these numbers kind of speak for themselves. We have one consistent data source in Salesforce. We have a consistent online pricing tool that everybody has visibility to, so there's never a question of what price book did they use, when did they quote the price, etc. Everybody's on the same page. We have this consistent channel-ready framework that I had already mentioned previously about, look, this is what we need as a set of criteria before we bring a product or solution to market to the channel. We have seen over the past few years, we're seeing an average of about 10% year-over-year adoption of the Partner Center. I'd like to see it a little more, but I'm gonna temper that and say, look, we didn't launch this globally all at once. We launched to North America in 2020 during the COVID timeframe, right? And folks weren't going into an office very much, but we pushed it out to EMEA in 2021, and we pushed it out to APAC in 2022. So I feel like that number, we don't have enough stats on yet, but I feel like that number will improve over time. I'm gonna skip the center for just a minute. We have 2,281 training courses completed. Hey, that's a win to me because we had zero way to track it 4 years ago when we launched the platform. But I will say that there's a lot of effort that goes on behind the scenes with that. We've got to do a lot of work to clean up because a lot of our partners were assigned training that's not relevant to what they do. So that role-based training model that I talked about, we haven't been able to push it out to the existing training. That's a huge effort. But I can say that we can at least go in and say, this is obviously technical training and that salesperson doesn't need it. So we've got to figure out how can we clean this up so our partners have a much better experience and they know what's expected rather than just seeing all this training assigned and going, I don't know what to do with it. We have 140 plus deal registrations annually and growing. Again, that number I expect will probably double this year, primarily because we have limited the solutions available for deal registration. And by the end of this year, and maybe even by the end of this half of the year, we will have opened it up to all of our solutions. And by doing that, that will provide us, again, with a heavy lift there, but it also gives us visibility into our partners' pipeline, and that's super critical. The last one, well, not the last one. The next one is really around leads. They're up 150% in 3 years. Okay, yes. Let me premise that by saying before we had the Partner Center, leads were emailed to partners and went into a black hole. We had no way to track them, right? So by implementing the leads module in Impartner and putting in place the processes that our marketing team supports, we've been able now to track the leads, make sure they're assigned to the right partner, make sure partner's responding. If they're not, this comes up in QBR, they don't get assigned those leads anymore, right? Or they get chastised for not responding. They have to respond to customers or acknowledge maybe they fulfilled the order out of existing stock. But we have to know. We have to know what happens to these leads. MDF growth, 200%. Again, we had no MDF prior to the program. First year, not a lot of online, on-site stuff going on. We have it divided into 2 buckets. We have a bucket for purchases from our employee store / partner store, but it's really an employee store. They can get Itron branded merchandise that they can turn around and sell, and they use MDF to pay for that. And then we also have, of course, a co-marketing fund that we use, which has the heavier dollars. And we actually tier our MDF funding based upon the partners tier in the program. So obviously the higher in the tier, the more MDF you have access to. And we've actually been seeing more growth now, of course, in that joint marketing events thing as more and more events have finally come back into play. So that very last one, the one in the center, NPS partner rating in 2023. So the survey, we've been doing NPS surveys for a while with our customers, started doing them with our partners a few years ago as well. 2 years ago, that number was 50. This last year, it's 76. I'm happy. I mean, we still have a ways to go. There's things that we can do clearly, but just to have that kind of a jump in a 2-year time frame, some of that is because of us and the program. Some of the difference is because we had, like so many of you in the room, we had supplier issues that affected the MPS store from partners, right? So as supplier issues have kind of freed up and we're starting to ship again, okay, that has a lot to do with it. But when I dig down into the comments that were in the survey in 2020, 21, 22, and then 23, there's been a lot of improvement and a lot of feedback in our partners to saying, thank you for giving us training. Thank you for putting structure into a program where there was none. And oh, by the way, can you do this, this, and this? Still on our list to track. But I think at the end of the day, we're happy with the structure that we put in place. And so what I want to do is I want to turn it over to Whitney. Whitney is on our digital marketing team. She and her team have been instrumental in taking all of this strategy, all of these pillars, all of these programs that we want to bring to our partners and making it happen in the Partner Center. So I want to turn it over to you, Whitney.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here. And I'm just going to pull the curtains back a little bit and sort of share some of our secret sauce behind the scenes, how we deliver the personalized one-stop shop for our partners. And like Lisa mentioned earlier, ease of doing business with Itron is really at the heart of what we want to be able to deliver. And what does this really mean for our partner program? First of all, we want to leverage the digital landscape. And by doing this, we're able to deliver a personalized experience and have everything easy access for our partners. They can have one location to go and get their latest sales materials, get online pricing, get new product information and product updates, and even access marketing tools like TCMA. And then this digital landscape also gives us the opportunity to digitize, transform, and streamline our workflows and establish global processes. And like Lisa mentioned, we have over 250 partners globally. So 24/7 access is crucial, because they need to do business in their time zones, not on time zones in the US. And then we will take this one step further and sort of look at personalized. And what does personalized experience mean for us? We have several different personas. We have sales channel partners that resell products. We have technology partners that help with integration of our products. And then we are just now onboarding our third persona developers that actually develop the applications that complement and work with our products. And each of these personas have different needs. And we want to be able to deliver what they need when they need it, and not have to have them sort through and sift through all the noise of what the other partners needs, because they just care about themselves, and we want to be able to deliver what is most important to them and make it easy for them. The easier, the better. And then also being able to sync our data between platforms, being able to share the latest and greatest updates between the Impartner platform and our CRM, Salesforce, or our channel mechanics, or SAP for training, is to make sure that everyone has all the same information. And as you can see off to the right, I have a couple screenshots. The top one is the homepage experience for our sales channel partners, and the bottom is our homepage experience for our technology partners. And through the use of momentum scripting, we give them a different look and feel. We present different calls to action, and we even will customize navigation based on their personas, again, to make things streamlined and easy. And through this customer-centric approach, we are building the brand loyalty that we need to strengthen our partnership for long-term growth for both us and the partners. So behind the personalization, we have this incessant drive to continuously improve the experience for our partners. And our process has 4 key elements to it. We start with analytics. Everyone has an opinion. That opinion is of one. And being the data analyst nerd that I am, I want to hear everyone's story. And that story lives in the data. And all you have to do is go looking for it, and it'll be there for you. Then on top of the hard data that we can pull from our systems, we'll incorporate feedback loops, partner surveys, user forums, focus groups. And we coupled that data with our analytic data, and this now begins to form the full picture for us. And we can start to understand how our partners are using the Partner Center. What are their needs? What are they looking for? What type of behaviors are they presenting? And that is all great information because now we can start identifying those friction points. Now, where are those pain points that we want to solve for them? And then, by identifying those friction points, we're going to dig deeper into our data and into our systems and figure out what that root cause is. We just don't want to address the symptom, but we want to get down to that root cause so we actually solve the problem. And as you can see off to the right is a little overview of what our system architecture looks like. As you can see, we integrate with several different platforms through the Impartner platform to deliver that unified single source experience to our partner. And then by understanding what our partner is looking for and what enhancements are going to have the biggest impact on their experience, we're going to use that to target which pain points we want to address first. And by doing this, we are going to increase the partner engagement with us, and we're going to improve the adoption rate of our Partners Center. And just a little anecdote here. We use this all the time. My team gets over 100 enhancements requests a week. So being able to filter through and prioritize and set expectations for all the stakeholders is an important piece of the puzzle. Now I'm just going to take a quick dive and sort of how do we implement all this? We leverage the Impartner platform. And when we decided to go with Impartner, we made a conscious decision to launch with, I think, almost all the modules they had available at the time. But that was by design, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to deliver new functionality and flexibility for our partners so they can have that ease of business of working with us. But we didn't stop there. We decided that we wanted to customize some of the modules because even though as great out-of-the-box functionality Impartner has, for our partners' needs and our business processes, we need to customize a little bit more in order to make everything seamless and easy. But there's also some risks involved when you customize. We do a benefit risk analysis, and for us, providing that seamless functionality for the multiple personas and being able to personalize was the weighted the most for us. But the risk to that is it takes a lot more resources just to keep the lights on. When the shiny bauble comes out and everyone wants to be a part of it, they're all gung-ho, but once you get the new function launched, then everyone goes off to the next shiny bauble, and now you got to maintain what you've implemented. And it takes a little more resources because when you get new platform updates, you have to go and do some analysis. It's like, is this update going to negatively impact any of the customization I did, or is that even going to be supported because we customized this module? And part of that risk is also having the right SMEs in place. Not only do you want to have your subject matter experts on your technical side that understand your platforms, that understand how the different platforms talk to each other, but you also need your business process SMEs that can sit there and tell you, this is what the business needs, and this is what we need to support. And at the end of the day, documentation is king. I'm sure we all have gone into this tribal knowledge experience where in the moment, you have all your experts together, you're solving a problem, everyone knows everything that has to know about your systems and business process, and you think everything's grand. Then 6 months later, 2 years down the road, this person left the company, or this one took a new position in the company and is no longer available, and you bring someone new in to fill that void, And they have this huge learning curve to even get up to speed, to even know what in the world's going on before they can start contributing to the team. One of the examples I do want to show about customization is around our lead object management, and in particular, our partner locator. And our analysis was showing that we were having potential customers come to the partner locator, and within one session, they would send out multiple requests to multiple partners asking for more information for follow-up. And then in our feedback loop, our partners are going, Itron, what are you doing? These leads from the partner locator are crap. They're not worth following up on. So we're getting on them for not following up leads, and they're going, well, send me qualified leads. So we have to figure out a solution. And so what we came up with was a request for information process. So originally, when the potential customer would click on the Contact Us button, it just popped up a little email window, would send an email to the partner, and they would take care of it. Today, when they hit that contact button, they fill out a web form for more information. It is now goes to our CRM and is routed to the appropriate sales team to further vet and further qualify and nurture that lead. Once that lead gets to a point that is nurtured, that we feel, okay, it's ready to hand off to a partner, the sales team has the autonomy to select which partner can best serve that customer. So now we have a win-win situation. We have leads being followed up on, and our partners are happy with the quality of the leads. And lastly, sort of the last thing I want to touch on today is governance. This is a key, important piece of the whole process. The governance will provide you a global overview and guidance to help set priorities and ensuring that the enhancements that you do aren't going to negatively impact another part of the business. But governance also helps by assigning ownership to stakeholders and gives these stakeholders a voice in the changes that's going to impact their day-to-day lives. And this is critical when it comes to change and transition management to help facilitate that process. And lastly, it also helps our SMEs, our subject matter experts, stay focused on their areas of expertise. And as our business grows and evolves, our governance provides a way to reevaluate our processes and evaluate our best practices that we implement to ensure that we're evolving those as our business evolves. And right now, I'm going to open up for a Q&A for Lisa and I, and hopefully we can help answer some more questions for you. Yes. Yes, so when we customize, not only do we customize at the partner level with their sales channel or technology, but also down to the segment, what region they're in, what activations that they are certified in, their user role. So we can get very granular on how we customize. Yes. Any other questions?
What are you guys using for your online pricing tool?
It is it's powered by Power BI, and we have just the last fall went through a process where we moved our pricing to our CPQ Oracle model, and so that's going to be the source of truth for the pricing. But through the Power BI reporting functionality is how we're delivering it through the partner portal. I was not part of that decision.
So let me make sure I understand the question. So the question is, and maybe you should just rephrase that rather than me rephrasing it.
Sorry. The question is that the Power BI that she, when they was talking about it, was a Microsoft product, right?
Right.
So well, a lot of times we see when people use Power BI, they also use Microsoft Dynamics rather than Salesforce. So the question is, how did you, I guess the mix of...
Why are we mixing the two,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so historically we've been a Salesforce house, right? But we have the majority of our data prior to a sales transaction is in Salesforce. However, once a customer or a partner submits an order, it moves to Oracle. So we have the connection between Oracle and Salesforce right now is one way. It's an Oracle push into Salesforce. With the data lake going into place, PDH, we're looking at ways to blend those two better. So in the meantime, we could use Power BI because Power BI could grab data needed from Oracle, which feeds into a RevViz cube, and grab data from Salesforce and present it. And so quite frankly, it's just using the tools that we had in place for the time being until we can move to a better, more polished system.
Do you have a plan to consolidate to, because rarely do we see companies use Salesforce, Oracle, Microsoft, all these different products. Is this the plan for going forward, or are you thinking of consolidating the applications?
Yeah, it's a good call. We've always had the stance, our IT department typically has said, let's do best of breed depending on what the solution is we're looking for. So, we have for our training program right now, it's using SAP SuccessFactors. We kicked off a project this year to move that over to Workday. So that's going to be another platform. It's just the direction of what we've chosen to do as a company. We're not converging on a single source to do everything within the company. We're going to pick best of breed, and we're blending them all together through different, whether it's an API integration or some other methodology. That's just the way that our IT is set up. I would love to show you the spaghetti diagram, but I don't have it. But yeah, that's the methodology our company has chosen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.